When you board a plane, there's a good chance you're just focused on your snacks, your seat comfort, or the in-flight entertainment. But behind the scenes at Airline HQ, there's a lot going on. Planners are constantly measuring a critical metric that determines their capacity to generate revenue, available seat kilometers, or ASKs. This concept is a cornerstone of airline operations and financial performance, shaping everything from route planning to fleet utilization. ASKs represent the total number of seats available on an airline's flights multiplied by the distance flown. So one ASK is one seat flown a distance of 1 kilometer. To take an example, if a plane with 200 seats flies a 1,000-kilometer route, it generates 200,000 ASKs for that flight. For a large airline, on a network scale, ASKs can run into the billions. The metric provides a standardized way to measure an airline's total capacity, often across its entire network, regardless of aircraft size or route lengths. The importance of ASKs lies in its role as the denominator in many key airline metrics. Most notably, it's used to calculate revenue per available seat kilometer, or RASK, and cost per available seat kilometer, CASK. Two figures that, when combined together, determine whether an airline is profitable. High ASKs indicate a larger capacity to earn revenue, but if that capacity isn't utilized efficiently, the airline risks high costs with insufficient revenue to cover them. ASKs can be used to compare capacity between different time periods, so they can show if a route, a group of routes, or an entire network has grown or shrunk in size. And they are also useful for comparing between airlines, but especially when comparing peer competitors. A global carrier like Emirates, with its sprawling long-haul network with over 300 large aircraft like the Airbus A380, cannot sensibly compare its ASKs with its sister airline Fly Dubai, which, while also based in Dubai, flies a more regional network with smaller narrow-body aircraft flying shorter routes. By analysing ASKs, airlines and industry analysts can gauge the scale and efficiency of a carrier's operations. The relationship between ASKs and revenue is deeply intertwined with an airline's load factor, which measures how much of the available capacity is actually sold. If an airline generates a high number of ASKs but fails to fill enough seats, it risks not breaking even. While airlines that consistently achieve high load factors maximize their ASK's revenue potential. Take Ryanair, for instance. The low-cost carrier's business model focuses on high-frequency short-haul routes with densely packed aircraft, maximizing ASKs at minimal cost. By filling a large percentage of seats on these flights, Ryanair achieves a higher RASK, while its high utilization leads to a lower CASK, which allows it to remain profitable even with low ticket prices. Contrast this with a premium carrier like Singapore Airlines, which generates ASKs through long-haul flights with luxurious seating configurations. Each aircraft flies just a couple of flights a day, and its seating is less dense, but the higher ticket prices for business and first-class passengers compensate for the reduced capacity. ASKs also play a pivotal role in fleet management and route planning. Airlines must carefully balance the number of seats they offer with market demand, ensuring they don't flood a route with excess capacity or underserve it during peak times. For instance, during the pandemic, many airlines reduced their ASKs by grounding aircraft and suspending routes to avoid flying empty planes. As demand recovered, carriers strategically reintroduced ASKs by deploying larger aircraft or increasing flight frequencies on high-demand routes. Consider Alaska Airlines, which operates a mix of short and medium-haul routes across the US West Coast. By using fleet types optimized for various distances, Alaska ensures its ASKs align with market demand, maintaining a competitive edge in its core region. Meanwhile, carriers like Qantas generate vast ASKs on long-haul flights, such as its Sydney to London service, leveraging the higher seat capacity of their larger aircraft. The introduction of new fuel-efficient aircraft has revolutionized how airlines manage ASKs. Planes like the Airbus A321XLR allow airlines to generate ASKs on longer routes that previously couldn't be flown, and with lower operating costs. This enables carriers to serve destinations that were previously out of range or just unprofitable, expanding their networks without sacrificing efficiency. However, ASKs are not just a measure of opportunity. They also highlight risks. Excess capacity, measured in underutilized ASKs, can drain profitability. For example, when Gulf carriers like Etihad and Qatar Airways rapidly expanded their fleets and networks in the mid-2010s, they generated massive ASKs, sometimes exceeding market demand. This led to price wars and financial strain, forcing some airlines to scale back growth. ASKs also play a role in sustainability. The metric directly correlates with fuel consumption and carbon emissions, as larger fleets and longer routes produce more emissions. Airlines are under increasing pressure to manage ASKs responsibly, balancing growth with environmental considerations. For example, airlines like Lufthansa have implemented fuel-saving technologies and optimized flight paths to reduce emissions per ASK, showcasing a commitment to sustainable growth. In the competitive airline industry, ASKs are far more than a measure of capacity. They're a strategic tool. Planners use ASKs to balance operational efficiency, revenue generation, and market share. Whether by adjusting fleet sizes, shifting focus to more profitable routes, or investing in next-generation aircraft, managing ASKs is a constant balancing act. Next time you board a flight, consider the effort that went into offering that seat at that particular moment. If planners have done their job, the airline is making the most of its ASKs. Because in the business of aviation, every seat counts. ASKs are a building block of other important metrics. We mentioned RASK earlier. For more on this, click here. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.